I've had enough of your snide insinuations.
BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and welcome to this here episode of BRB UK 443. I am Coleman. Hi. I will be presenting today because Dan dropped out at literally 3 minutes before we were due to do a podcast together. So I'm a little bit of sorts.
On the hook.
Anyway.
You've literally forgot to say hi at the beginning.
I did the hi. I just didn't do it as hi as I usually would.
It wasn't a trademark Coleman hi.
No. I think I accidentally paused the music as well, so I'll have to put that in post. Yeah. Also, here is Tim.
Hello.
There you go. And joining us for this little threesome that may turn out to be a threesome if Dan is available later on in the show, it's Bleezey.
Hi. I figured I'd do it because you won't.
How are you, Bleezey? It's been a long time since we've had you on the show, since your self-imposed exile, where you keep telling everyone that you've been banned from the show, but we've never banned you from the show.
I mean, yeah, it's better to put the blame on you guys when I can't make the show. And so if I just keep going, I've been banned, it's easier. But I'm unbanned. I've declared it.
You've declared yourself unbanned?
Yes.
Fair enough. All right. Jumping in, I wanted to get you on this here show. I'll quickly point out before we start talking about the games we done played. There is a state of play for Horizon Forbidden West, which would have happened last night as this show has come out now. But as we are recording, this doesn't happen till much later in the evening, and we are not recording at 11 o'clock at night. So it's something we're not talking about this week. Maybe next week if it proves very interesting that we do need to do a show. But the games that we done played, I specifically asked for you to come on board, Bleezey, because you have also been playing Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, and from what I've seen of your Twitter updates, breezing through the game in comparison to what I'm doing, where this is, and I keep saying I've never played Mass Effect, which is a lie. I've played Mass Effect about 6 times, which would be the intro. I get to the Citadel, I get bored, and I stop playing.
I mean, I can see why, but
now, I've started again. I've been told by a few people I should pick up this version and play this version instead. I am playing through again, and I'm enjoying myself, but you, like Tim, you are a big fan of Mass Effect. You've played through the games previously. How is this stacking up to your experience as a more rounded fan to the series?
Overall, it's a lot better. I am struggling through some glitches that weren't there the first time round, but yeah, I can go into those in detail in a bit. But like generally, like the best overview I can say is it is a lot better than it was like when I played specifically Mass Effect 1. It's brought that up to date a bit more in line with the other two. And yeah, it's I love it.
I would say 1 probably would have benefited most from a bit of spit and polish, no?
Yeah, like visually, like, you know, it's still making 1 up to par with the others. It's not a full remaster, so like there's still some like little bit of flappy facial animations and stuff where you just go, okay, I can see that this is like a 2007 game with, you know, it cleaned up rather than, oh, this is a 2021 title. But
who's the guy who's your captain at the start of the game?
Oh, Anderson, that's
it. So they've, like, for instance, in some characters, especially with the alien characters, they look very, like, they had a really cool look anyway, and then adding this kind of new spit and polish to it makes it looks more in line to a next generation title, current generation title. But for instance, when you take the more human characters like Anderson, and then you upgrade it with the new engine and the new the new layering and stuff, Anderson does look a bit like a boiled potato. And that's especially apparent in the first game in comparison to the other games from what I've seen, because he's all... so it's kind of hit and miss in areas.
The other thing I'd point out is the eyes. They made a big deal about they wanted to clean up the eyes, make them a little bit more like vibrant and add some life to them, which they have. But also because the like whites of like the characters' eyes are so much more prominent, it looks like they're intensely staring at everyone all of the time. and it just looks like you've
Male
just told them
Shepard
to.
is. If you get male Shepard in the right light, he looks terrifying. He's just staring down people
staring
the whole time.
daggers at people.
Oh,
Which works really well with the reporter punching scene because he's intense and ready to go in for that.
I'm sure they've changed some of the lighting for those to like intensify the eyes.
Yeah, but where I'm at the moment, I'm playing through the first game finally, and I seem to actually be making some progress in it. When I messaged you to ask you on the show, Bleezey, I think I was 6 hours in and I hadn't left the Citadel because I was just having fun running around scanning keepers and talking to people and stuff and doing little odd jobs and what have you. And then last night before we did the show, I was like, right, I've actually got to go and do a proper mission. I can't just keep knocking around the Citadel, even though it looks lovely. So I've done. I couldn't tell you the names of the planets and places that I've gone, but I went to like a place that the Geth had attacked, and I saved a blue woman, and now she's part of my squad. Liara, is that right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Liara. Liara, blue woman. She's now in my squad.
Like, say the place that the Geth attacked is like 90% of the game.
Yeah,
So,
like,
I'm assuming
universe,
that. They
yeah.
seem to be the big. Yeah, they seem to be the big bad in this one. So you're going to see them
I
everywhere.
would-
But
I would say where you said you were at with the Citadel, that was most people's like sticking point, because that bit is where they really deliver the world building in one. The pace does slow down a bit, and if you can kind of get over that hump, everything else gets a lot better, a lot quicker. But I would say that is like, from most people that I've spoken to, they've gone, Mass Effect's not my thing. It is that Citadel, that like hour or so that where they're just chatting, and you know, it loses people.
yeah, I think because a lot of the kind of stuff that people have always told me is that Mass Effect's a really, really good game, but you need to just kind of blast through the first game and get to the second one, because that's where it becomes more action heavy, whereas this one's more RPG. But I find, like, I like BioWare's RPGs before this. I liked their Star Wars series. So I do actually like this
Shout
stuff.
out
It's
to
just that
Jade
whenever
Empire as well, but hey.
yeah, it's just whenever I got into, well, yeah, I know, but this has more of a comparison to the Star Wars stuff. Like, you can literally have a character with, you've just turned your camera off, Tim.
No, he hasn't.
Nope.
Oh, your camera's just disappeared on mine. I will carry on then.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's recording. It'll be fine.
Hopefully.
Anyway, yeah. So it's kind of has a one-on-one with Star Wars because of the sci-fi stuff, and you can literally have magical powers and all that kind of thing that go in with it. So it's more hand-in-hand in that way. Where I felt the kind of drop-off was the Citadel stuff. I found the intro mission so kind of boring.
Really?
At a point, and then I really didn't like the intro mission. All 6 times that I've played it. 7 now. So
Is it because you've done it 6 times?
Yeah, that might not
probably
help.
that. 7 now, Bleezey. Actually, no, 8, because I got to I got to the end, and then I got to the Citadel, and I went, actually, no, I would have liked to have done this thing instead. And then I went back and did it again. I went, right, now I'm not doing it again. I'm definitely going to play this game. But then I get to the Citadel, and then I'd kind of do the intro talky bit, and then go, right, I'm going to come out of this and go back to it later. And that's just when I'd stop, and then a year would pass and go, oh yeah, Mass Effect, I should probably play that. Like, to the point, I do have every disc copy of, I've got Mass Effect 1, 2, 3 and Andromeda, and I have yet to play through any of them. And now I've just gone and got another version so I could play it on the Series S instead. Even though I could play those previous ones on the Series S, but hey, you know. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I think I will stick with this one. It's a bit, now I've got over, like you said, the hump of the Citadel, Bleezey. I was jumping into Yakuza for the first time, and kind of my complaint of that game was I felt like a lot of that is meandering, running around, not really doing much, and getting a bit bored. That it's quite a slow-paced narrative. I'm assuming it will kick off at some point, but now this has kind of taken its place. So maybe I could swap. I'll finish Mass Effect. I'll do a Yakuza. I'll go and do Mass Effect 2. Then I'll do another Yakuza, and we'll see how we go. Maybe that could be my plans of gaming for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I'd just get to Mass Effect 2 as quickly as you can.
I still like Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, I loved it at the time when it came out. I haven't really said, because I was letting you guys lead the conversation, but yeah, as much as I love Mass Effect, I haven't felt a strong desire to pick up this version, at least not yet at the price that they're floating it at, basically.
But you've completed 1, 2, and 3, haven't you?
Yes. I kind of,
Yeah,
and that's
so
the thing. I kind of feel like and I've done it twice because I've played it through as, what were the two factions, Renegade and
Paragon and Renegade.
Paragon and Renegade, and so I've done it both ways round, and I kind of feel that those are the two narratives that I've had basically, and I kind of don't need any more.
I've actually heard that from quite a lot of my friends, which I do kind of understand. Like, I personally have played Mass Effect 2 to death, and so I was like, the reason that I'm having so much fun in this is because there's so much of Mass Effect that I remember, but all of it, or at least 95% of it, is Mass Effect 2. So
Right.
when playing through Mass Effect 1 again, I remembered like 1 or 2 instances, but like a lot of it kind of seemed new. And especially when I was going through 2, a lot of things that were coming up, but I was just like, no, I remember this being in Mass Effect 3. So now that I've reached Mass Effect 3, I'm like, ooh, I actually don't remember this game. And I'm enjoying it again. And
Okay.
but if you've recently played it and you remember all 3 parts of the story, then yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't be interested.
The one thing that's tempting me is I can't remember how much of the DLC I played. I think I might have played. Was there any for 1? I don't remember playing masses
There were
for 1. But
2 packs for 1. One was not great, and that's the one that they broke the source code of. And
Right.
the other one,
So
the
it's
other
not
one's
in
pretty
this.
good.
yeah,
Well, that's it, because they said there was an issue with the missing source code of one of the DLC packs, so it wouldn't be included
Pinnacle
in this.
Station.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be included in this version of the game. But there's also, because I remember there was DLC for the third one for multiplayer and stuff. You could get extra weapons if you bought the right sodas and crisps and things. And then there was that one day where they accidentally, because like even though I haven't started up Mass Effect 3, I have all the DLC for Mass Effect 3 because there was a botch where EA accidentally listed all the DLC as free. And if you got in there in about 20 minutes, you could get all the DLC for Mass Effect free. So I have it. Even though I never played it, I have it. But I remember there was a specific piece of DLC that I have, and is the only reason I booted up Mass Effect 2 was to claim it. I can't remember the game now. There was a game that they launched along the same time as Mass Effect 2, and what was it called? Something Reckoning?
Wasn't it?
No. It was like it was meant to be an MMO, and then they turned it into an RPG.
Oh, Amalur.
I can't. Amalur, Kingdoms of Reckoning. That's it. If you played both demos, I think, then you could unlock stuff inside them. But also, I bought Amalur, and that meant I could unlock this blood dragon armor that you could play in Mass Effect 2. And I did it, and I got it ready, and it's all on Mass Effect 2 on the Xbox 360 waiting to play. But then I saw a thing there where you could switch your save from the 360 version to this version. Does my DLC go over? Can I have my Blood Dragon DLC for a failed game? Does that include?
The Blood Dragon armor is in it. Just completely unrelated. I think they said every bit of DLC like that's not linked to the multiplayer is in the single player. Like there are, and there
that was
there
Mass
were,
Effect 2, so that would be in there because that.
But
yeah,
it's I think it's also in 3, or there's something similar in 3. But
okay.
I remembered there were certain things that you could only earn by playing the multiplayer mode in 3, but they've kind of found new ways, like they're suddenly available at shops, or like
Right, yeah.
you can pick them up on like missions and stuff. And so they've kind of tried to tweak the ways that you can get that stuff. But yeah, it's still available in the game.
I know you haven't got to it yet, Bleezey, but wasn't 3 like structured in the way that the multiplayer made a difference to the end game, or possibly
Yes.
could feed into the end game like status?
Yeah, so I've played a little bit of 3. I actually, because I can't remember any of it, I don't know how far I am through it. I'm a couple main missions into it, and the way that it worked was like everything you do is building a score for the end mission.
Yeah.
And playing the multiplayer would like boost that score.
Yeah.
I think what they've done is they've rebalanced it similar to how they've rebalanced the XP in Mass Effect 1 as well, because in order to hit the main level cap in Mass Effect 1, you needed to do multiple playthroughs in order to get that much, but they've tweaked it so you could hit the max level in one playthrough if you wanted. And so I think in 3 they've kind of adjusted that accordingly as well. Like some things have like a higher value now to balance the fact that multiplayer is not in it.
Okay.
So you can still get the best ending if you wanted.
Okay.
Was it
Which I intend to do.
Galactic Readiness, was that the thing?
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it. So
see, I used to play a lot of Mass Effect on the iPad. There was like a third-person shooter on the iPad, and apparently that was contributing to something in Mass Effect 3 that I'll never know because they've cut it out. Although we'll possibly add it in if there's enough interest, apparently.
That was the only Mass Effect thing that I haven't played because I didn't have an iPad or anything that could run it. So, like, I can't advise on that, but I heard that it added to Mass Effect 3 as well. It was
a pretty good third person shooter. You just randomly do kind of survival third person shootery missions, and I enjoyed it. So there you go. There's a game you can't download anymore on a device that is so outdated now on my version that I can't download anything anymore. It's a really nice paperweight. But yeah, I think if you're a newcomer to the series and like me, and you're not really, I mean, because there is a kind of graphical leap, but it's more obvious in the second and third games in comparison to the first games, where like textures and things are just old and muddy and things, and they've updated them, and it doesn't quite translate as well in the first game as it does in the other two. But if you're willing to deal with that, if you're okay with an older game, even though it's just got a fresh coat of paint, then I'd say it's worth picking up. If you're a huge Mass Effect fan and you want to play it right now, then yes,
then
go pick it up.
you already own it.
Yeah, if you've had your fill and you are looking to, I just think if you have played and you've had your fill and you're not really, like, you can see yourself having a playthrough in the future, but it's not the highest priority like you, Tim, then wait for a sale, pick it up later, no rush. But yeah, it was going to be, I think part of my decision in picking up was it was going to be this or Biomutant, and I think we didn't get a response back from a copy of Biomutant, so it was going to have to be I put my money down for that. And then the reviews for Biomutant came out. I went, you know what? I think I'll leave it for now.
I'm still semi-interested in that. I'd still, wouldn't mind giving a look at some point maybe. But
I'm interested as much as hey, you remember when they stuck this in beta on Game Pass? I can foresee this going to Game Pass at some point. Then I'll be more interested.
I will play this on Game Pass.
Tim,
yes.
Sorry, go on, Bleezey.
I was going to say, like, I didn't know how much you wanted to get into it because I don't want to spoil anything in case there are people out there that haven't played Mass Effect 2 and 3. I have had some quite hilarious bugs with my save game.
Okay.
Where I don't know what it is, and so far I have found no one else that has experienced this. The game can't decide, or it can't remember what I've done so far. Like in Mass Effect 1, I was trying to romance Ashley.
Yeah.
And the game,
the big space racist,
decided. Yeah, the big space racist.
What? I was getting along with it.
Personally, I don't like Liara. I find her a bit bland. So I went and told her I'm not interested. The game progresses. It gets to the romance part. Liara turns up. And I'm like, hold on. This is not what I did, game. But then at the beginning of Mass Effect 2, your love interest appears. And Ashley turned up.
Right.
Even though I had the Liara scene, and then like the game is getting confused, and I don't know if it's a bug with specifically my save, something's corrupted along the way, or if it's an issue more people are having. But there's been a couple instances like that. Like I'll save someone, and then I'll be chatting to someone in another game, and they'll go, "Oh, it's such a shame that they died here," and I'm like, "No, I saved them. I had a chat with them afterwards. What are you on about?" And so I've been messaging a couple friends, just slowly going insane because it seems like everything I know is a lie. But it's been minor, and I'm still enjoying the game regardless. But there are still a few tweaks to be made.
Romance options has never been a thing that interests me in games. I've always found them a bit seedy, and especially in Mass Effect, so it's like your romance options are members of your crew. It's like, that's a bit,
Yeah. And
There's even
weird.
lines that joke about that though. I don't get it. Like, I was going for the achievement for it, but
Okay.
like literally when you're chatting to people, they're like, "Oh, isn't this against like Alliance regulations to flirt with crew members?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But this is how the game is written.
It's not a complaint as like a woke kind of understanding type thing with me. I just don't like romance options in games.
It does feel
But
weird.
I find the lines so incredibly cheesy. It's like Shepard's been written for by the Fonz or something. Like I'm talking to Space Racist Ashley, and was it said something like she's prepared to kiss ass to get along with the crew, even though they're aliens and she doesn't like them. And then you can respond with going, "What about me? Where's my kisses?" Girl? And you're like, that is horrible. So,
But then there's lines that are like will progress your like romance because they're supposed to be flirty, but it's just like it's not flirty. Like once again in one there's a bit where like Ashley calls you up on it and goes, isn't it a bit weird that you're trying to flirt with your crew? And you're just like, well, that's cold, but that apparently like progresses your romance with her. And I'm just like,
she likes that.
You're being mean to her, and apparently that works.
yeah, it's they're very cringy romance options, and also aren't they?
And then they
they're
unlock
strictly
a
just
sex scene as well, kind of thing as well. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, what
like-
they do?
Well, basically.
It's like
Oh no.
it's like the roughest implication of a sex scene in anything. It's like
Mom,
one
get out
shadow.
of here! I'm
and-
playing a video game.
Oh yeah, like I was genuinely worried that my partner was going to walk in on that like 12-second thing where you could see the shadow and implication of someone's butt, and I was just like, this is going to be so hard to explain that I'm doing this for an achievement, which, by the way, I didn't even get. That's another thing that glitched.
Oh, really?
So
Ma, get out of here! I'm getting an achievement, Ma. I'm saving the galaxy.
Yeah, I'm saving the galaxy. I don't have time to explain how this factors in, but it's
so weird.
important.
One-handedly
am I
saving
right-
the galaxy.
Am I right in thinking, because I'm looking at some stuff we've been sent, but am I right in thinking this is, you can only have straight relationships in Mass Effect, which is kind of...
No,
No,
I
I
think they.
Maybe
I
was
think-
it that way in 1 and then not later on in the series? I think from memory.
So I can't remember
Or was it
straight off
just
the bat,
always-
but I think it's
Yeah.
three has, like there's options across the board. I think one is if you play as FemShep, there's a Guy or Liara, and if you play
Yeah.
as male Shep, there's Ashley or Liara.
Yeah.
So
Right, okay.
it's not really like you don't have a whole host of characters to go after, and then in 2 they kind of expand who you can kind of flirt with, but I don't really know
Yeah, I can't remember exactly
how many
that
options there
works,
are there.
yeah.
But I think in 3 I think they used it as like a marketing thing to be like, oh yeah, we've included this, so basically more
It was a
people
different
were
time.
represented.
Yeah.
It's a different time in
Okay.
the future, yeah.
So that's a no to Rex then.
I mean, if you're brave
no,
enough.
big thumbs up to Rex. Zazel Rex, wipe out the genophage.
I mean, you wiped it out a different way to the way I went about it. But
Depends. I worked out 2 different ways, I think. I think I always saved Rex. I think I couldn't resist it.
did you take one for the team?
I don't remember.
I wish I knew what you were talking about. Actually, no, I don't wish I knew what you're talking about, because spoilers.
Yes.
I was implying that he seduced a character that you can't seduce.
Fair enough. All right, that's enough Mass Effecting. But yeah, a big thumbs up from me. I'll let people know how I'm getting on with the game, but I'm really enjoying it thus far. So there we go. Tim, you've finally jumped back into Horizon Zero Dawn. You've put down PlayStation 5, but that's backwards compatible.
Yes,
Is there
it's just backwards compatible on
improvements for
PlayStation
the...
5. But I think I don't know if it had the Game Boost stuff. It did definitely get... Yeah, there was some talk of some sort of upgrade for PS5, I think, basically. But I'm not sure...
Because I know that was like one of the big marketing things behind it when it was first coming out was, oh, look how pretty on PlayStation 4 Pro. So I don't know if it's just kind of that and boosted a bit because of the boost mode.
Yeah, and I won't go through it too much, but just entirely coincidentally just happened to pick up Horizon Zero Dawn and play it. I was actually planning to play Cyberpunk and see if that is still broken, and I've played a little bit, and I'm not sure how much more I'm going to play, so that'll probably tell you too much. But yeah, while I forgot, that was the one game I actually had to reinstall on my PS5 because I cleared it when I was moving stuff around on my PS4, basically. But while that was actually installing, I was like, right, oh yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. I got that for free the other day. I don't know, I think we mentioned on the show at some point, but Horizon Zero Dawn was free for a while on PS4. And
part of the PlayStation Please Stay Indoors program.
Yeah, and I'd already got a copy of Horizon Zero Dawn, but this was the complete edition, so it came with the Frozen Wilds and other bits.
But this was free!
Free! Yeah, but I was also interested in just generally checking how it would deal with having my save in the cloud, me going from PS4 to PS5, and then me going from the normal edition to the complete edition, and just seeing if it definitely, maintained my save file properly and all that type of stuff. But yeah, that all seems fine. I literally, having double checked the file, I hadn't played the game since 2017. So, 4 years, basically. Since March 2017 as well. So it's been over 4 years. But yeah, it's part of the reason I hadn't been back for a while is I suspected, and I think I am correct, it's a bit of a tough game to pick up when you're kind of picking up in the middle of things with no sign of explanations of what exactly is going on with controls and inventory and everything else. Yeah, and it is a steep curve to jump in back in on as well. But having played it for a couple of nights and got back into the swing of things a bit more, there's still a few things I'm like, yeah, I don't remember how that works. Like the upgrade system and the kind of stuff you put in your weapons and stuff. But yeah, interesting that I happened to play it the night before they started talking about Horizon Forbidden West. Be interested to see what comes out of that next week. I just happened to pick it up and start playing it again. And I'm like, oh yeah, Robo Dinos, that's pretty good. But yeah, just moving that all around as well. It was good to see that my save file worked okay, and I could just pick up from where I was in the game from 4 years ago on a different console, on a slightly different version of the game and stuff, and it still work and function fine and just go from where I was. Although I was slightly tempted to restart and just go from the beginning just so I can get all the tutorials and all the kind of stuff, but I'm like, I'm not sure I can be bothered. I'm just going to go from here. We'll be okay.
Yeah, that was the same for me. I dived back into this. I think I mentioned this in the show. I dived back into this last year because I keep trying to go back to Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think I left it and I was in an area where it was all rocky terrain, and there was a big underground robot that kept smashing me up. And each time I jumped into it, I went, I've remembered less about this game, and I'm remembering less each time I log back into it. And I died to this thing, do you know what? I'm just going to come back to this another time, and I'll work it out. And I was determined last year, and I sat down, and I had because I play games at my desk, so I got my PlayStation there, and I got my PC there, so I could Google things to do, what I'm meant to be doing, and then go back and kind of walk through it at the same time. And I finally got back to it, and I started reminding myself of things, but I just couldn't remember what was going on with the story properly. And then I was on a mountaintop and a big bird robot attacked me, and then I died. Now I'm back in that same situation. So the next time I go back, a big bird will kill me, and I'll go, what the hell was I doing with this again? And I had the same kind of realization as you. So I really should just start this again. But I remember playing this at the start and just was very kind of, I found the intro to the game very tedious and long to get through the tutorials.
It's a bit slow and hand-holdy because it's kind of teaching you a lot of mechanics, but also opening up the story and telling that part of things as well. So yeah, I think it's a bit that's why I didn't want to kind of go back and play from the beginning again. Kind of glad that I persevered and stuck through it. I literally just went, all right, this is a fight. Let's remember how to do a fight. Big, dinosaur crocodiles. Yep, let's fight and work out how to kill these people. Yeah, if anyone wants to dive back in, my number one tip is, traps. Sneak up on things, lay traps, get stuff to overtake things so that they're on your side when you're fighting bigger things, and then just fight. Lots of arrows, and don't forget your melee attacks, because I completely forgot that melee attacks were a thing for quite some time when I was starting. I was just like, arrow, arrow, arrow. Oh yeah, there's melee stuff. Oh yeah, that's really quite useful as well.
This sounds exactly like me playing Last of Us, because I played that game after putting it down for 6 months. I played about 3/4 of the game before I remembered there's a melee button. And because it's not what I'm used to in games, I just was like, oh, I guess there's no melee mechanic. And so, yeah, once you find that out, you're just like, this is just game breaking.
I have the exact same problem in Mass Effect at the moment. I keep clicking a stick to melee, and it's not. It's a button, and I keep clicking a stick to sprint, and I duck, and it's really irritating.
In Mass Effect 1, they've changed the grenade button to where reload is for everything. So I blew myself up in the first mission because I went to reload, forgetting that it's like a cooldown weapon, and just threw a grenade at my feet. And so I was like, oh no.
Keep frisbeeing grenades out without realising it. And I never use them because they aim so rubbish. But every now and then I'll accidentally hit, I think it's square, and X, and they'll just go and fling out somewhere. I go, well, I didn't mean to do that, but hey, there's a grenade.
I never used them because I was constantly out of grenades because I threw them at times that I didn't need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'd rather finish Horizon Zero Dawn than actually play Mass Effect at the moment. That was kind of one of my decisions with I'd rather play through that. So, hey. But yeah, be interesting to see what comes out of the state of play later this evening and see exactly what comes out of that. Like, I kind of want a big game to look forward to on my PS5. I like the look of Ratchet and Clank, but yeah, be nice to have a big AAA kind of open world thing to have a look at as well.
So as someone who's never played Horizon, would you recommend it now? Or would you?
If it's free, so yeah, jump in.
Well, I think it's stopped being free at the moment, possibly, but I don't know.
Yeah, but surely he's picked it up.
Yeah, possibly.
I bought it, and then it went free a month after I bought it, and so I was just like, and so it's just been sat there, and I haven't actually even opened it yet, and so I'm just wondering, is it still worth jumping in? Or?
I would say it's a really interesting sci-fi world. I don't know, how much. I imagine they'll make it that you don't really need to know much of the story to jump into the new one, but at the same time, yeah, it's an interesting enough world and interesting enough combat, especially that I think it does a few things differently enough that it's kind of its own thing, even though it still feels slightly derivative of your general open world formula. And I think a few things since it, Ghost of Tsushima's top of my list for this, and God of War probably have done the open world thing a bit better than it did. So I'll be interested to see if they mix that formula up for the new one. But I'd still say it is a fun, enjoyable, playable game that, the combat's interesting and different and quite good. So, yeah, I think you'll enjoy it, Bleezey.
Okay.
I would say finish your Last of Us, because if you've not done so already.
Oh, no, I've done both of those, but that was my example of...
Because you don't want too many... You don't want too many stories going on at the same time. And then once you're done with that, yes, of course, play Horizon Zero Dawn, because you bought it. You should play it.
I bought it in a sale for £5. So if I never played it, that's not the worst thing I've done in the world.
Well, that's why I'm slightly concerned. People were recommending Last of Us 2 because it's currently, I think, £10 with £5 delivery from Game and other vendors of similar price. But yeah, I think that's a big sign that it might be coming to PlayStation Plus. So,
I have a question, Tim.
Yes.
How much did you spend on plastic Mario Kart?
Yeah, too much money.
Oh, Tim, how much did you spend on your Ouya?
But having already spent that money...
How much did you spend on your pain-in-the-arse headphones?
I'm not in a massive rush... My headphones are really good. Anyway, I'm not in a massive rush to spend... to play Last of Us 2, so it's £15 that I don't have to spend on something that will possibly come to PlayStation Plus at some point.
It was a tenner.
Yeah,
it's going
10
up
plus
the longer that
delivery.
he talks.
Delivering
I'll see.
for what? I'm so confused.
Yeah,
I thought this was a digital sale.
No, this is on game, apparently. I'm not sure that priced digitally.
No. There's a sale on the PlayStation Store at the moment, and Last of Us 2 is in there for
Right, but
£10, I believe, because that's what all the headlines say.
Well, no, there's is it State of Play? I'm not sure what's the name of the sale thing? Is it State of Play
end
sale?
Of something. It's not State of Play sale. It'll
No,
be
but
something
there's
else.
whatever the thing is. It's not just on the
Days
store.
of Play.
It's also for physical stuff. Days of Play. That's it.
Yeah.
It's also being advertised in retailers that are selling physical games, and they've got discounts on Sony stuff based on that.
Well,
Just
more
a
importantly, they have Assassin's Creed Valhalla for $35.99, which is great because I can now buy that and download it and never play it along with the other two Assassin's Creeds that are still in my queue.
Yes, I was tempted by that. I was looking at that and was like, no, that's going to come down in price at some point soon. So that,
I've literally just reinstalled Origins to go, I need to play this.
I started playing Syndicate because it was on Game Pass, and I had a look around London and then went, okay, I've got everything out of this. I don't need to do any missions. I'm out.
Yeah, I went back to Syndicate because I think that's the last one that I started that I never finished and went, right, I really need to finish the story so I can get to the next one. But I've been told so many times, it doesn't matter, just start playing the next one. I've had my fill of London, so I'm like, yeah, all right, fair enough. But that game's interesting.
Finished one since 3.
That game's interesting, like, if you know enough about London fables and lore and stuff, and like, one of the first big bad guys that you come across is Spring Hill Jack, and I'm like, that's really cool. I want to carry on following this guy. But apparently it doesn't amount to much anyway. But that's Assassin's Creed, isn't it? Anyway, those are the games we've done played. Should we talk about the headlines that we have? Because we got a couple. So the first one, there is a Sony investor presentation that happened, I think, yesterday or some point this week anyway. And there are some slides you may have seen going around the internet because a few things have been revealed in this, it looks like. The first one is that one of the slides shows the kind of how well that Horizon Zero Dawn did on the PC, and that the next game's going over to the PC, which would be Days Gone, which is just released on PC, but also listed was Uncharted 4. So it looks like we might be getting Uncharted 4 on the PC pretty soon, which sounds like a brilliant idea. More PlayStation exclusives on PC. They sell really well and they perform better than on the PlayStation. So that's really, really good.
And that's more money for Sony games to be developed before Sony fans kick off too much about Sony fanboys rather than Sony fans. But
they will always kick off.
Well, that's true. That is also true.
They will always kick off, but I personally, I'd like if Sony did more of a Microsoft approach and went, hey, we're going to start doing day-and-day PC games and PlayStation games, and that would be good for someone that has a PC that could play these games but doesn't have a PlayStation that could play these games. That'd be great. Just saying, Sony, please. Or sell me a PlayStation, one of those two things.
You're happy either way, yeah?
But then, also in the presentation, Sony mentioned that mobile is a new growth area for PlayStation Studios, and they've confirmed, according to the slides, they've confirmed that PlayStation Studios caliber games are going to be in production for mobile devices. They've even started up a new studio, a new division and a new head of department and stuff, so yeah, Sony are going to try mobile games again.
Everyone's trying mobile games again at the moment, basically, but hey.
But will we get another PlayStation phone?
No.
There was a PlayStation phone?
Do you not remember the PlayStation phone, Bleezey?
No. Is this something I'm too young for? When did this happen?
I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit longer than that. But yep. Sony,
I feel like I would have remembered this.
Sony released a PlayStation branded phone, and they started bringing out PlayStation developed mobile games. Which, if you had a Vita, which came out later, you could actually install those games. Yeah, a PS Vita. You could install the mobile games and play them on there as well.
It's
Because
so
that's how
ugly.
I played any of. Oh yes, it's hideous.
I've just googled it because I genuinely thought you were lying to me.
It's no Engage.
Just
I'll
making
give you
it up.
that.
It's not out of your jurisdiction to completely make up a news story to try and trick me.
Yeah, but to do it on the podcast, I mean, it's also not out of the question either. Actually, I'll give you that.
You look at that image and get very excited, but get very skeptical about that and say it's ugly. I saw that whenever they initially announced it and went, yes, I need this phone. I didn't get it because as soon as it came out, everyone went, this is rubbish. It's not even a good phone.
It looks like it would break. Anyway, I'm glad they tried, but I'm not sure if they should try again.
I think they should. I want a Sony smartphone. I mean, Sony do smartphones, but I want a PlayStation smartphone.
With the design of the PS5, it wouldn't fit in your pocket, that's for sure.
Big vents coming off the side of my phone. Yeah. That'd be annoying.
Slice your hand open on it, it's too sharp.
The other thing that was a part of this story, but I quickly omitted from the agenda because it's kind of going back and forth, but there was one of the logos they showed in future releases on their lineup was God of War Ragnarok, which they'd actually called God of War Ragnarok because of the logo they'd used. But doing a quick Google search shows that they may have just taken a fan art interpretation and stuck it in there, whoever did the presentation. And then later, because these slides are available online, you can look at them. They then re-uploaded the slide with the logo removed and just a generic God of War put on there. So we still don't know what God of War 2 is called, but it might be Ragnarok. It probably is Ragnarok. It's going to involve Ragnarok in some form.
Electric Boogaloo, of course. That is the obvious title.
I think you'd avoid Ragnarok because of Thor Ragnarok, but hey.
Possibly. That might be why they're being a bit more, cautious about using that name.
But surely Ragnarok is just it's the end of days, isn't it? It's like that's what it means. So if that's what the game's about, I don't think
God of
they should
War,
avoid
Days
it.
Gone. God of War, Zero Dawn.
God of War, The Last of Us.
God of War, Fallout. 76. No.
No.
And the last bit of news we got this week, there is a report from Bloomberg. Once again, Bloomberg love to report on the Nintendo Switch and what's going to happen with the Nintendo Switch. Is there a new Nintendo Switch? And once again, they are saying, yes, a new Nintendo Switch is in development. And we could be seeing releases as soon as September or July. So, but apparently assembly for the upgraded version of the Switch, which could be a Switch Pro or a 4K Switch upscale or whatever these different versions that have been floating around is, it could just be a bigger battery and a new processor. You know,
I think we predicted timing of this at the beginning of the year, no, or end of last year.
I always put the end of this year if they can get production in gear, and according to this report, production could be happening in July with release around September, October, which I think makes full sense because you got a Christmas period coming up.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's are out the way, even though no one can buy them. They're fan fiction. They never released. It doesn't exist. I've seen them.
It's all a hallucination.
I still don't think the PlayStation 5 exists, and there's one right there. But I won't even show it on camera because it doesn't exist. But because they had their big launch windows and they're out the way, it makes sense to do a revision of a console for the next one, because for all we know, next Christmas could be a revision of a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X.
Yes, and
get out. Go on.
Yeah, do you think it will be called the Switch Pro? I don't think it will. I don't think that suits Nintendo's naming conventions, and it doesn't sound very appealing to their general target consumer type thing. You know, I mean, like fine for all of us gaming types, but I can't see them going with the word pro. It seems a bit too exclusionary.
I like when they added like letters onto the end, like the Wii U, so they 64. Should call it the Switch E. Switch E.
The Switch U.
Switch I. They did that, or didn't they? Oh, it was DSi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Switch DSi. I like that. Yeah, I don't see them going for a naming convention from any of their older consoles, and I also don't see them going down the Pro route because PlayStation 4 Pro, they tend not to go for the same names as their competitors. I mean, it could be, although 3DS was new 3DS at one point. It could be the new Switch, depending on how well that ran.
Wasn't there an XL one or something?
There was a Switch, there was a 3DS and a 3DS XL. Then there was the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL.
Okay.
Not confusing at all.
I don't know that much about Nintendo. I thought it was all one.
Everyone.
But also, if you call it new Switch, then there's a good, then it doesn't mean you've now got a bunch of old Switch stock that you can't get rid of, and also it indicates that you can still play the same old games on the new console, new games on the old console.
Wait, what
and
was
they like to do that when there's an iteration. So,
what was the name of the one without the dock? The one that I own, where it's just the handheld.
The Switch. Haha, we saw you coming.
So just go the opposite. The Switch Heavy. And it's just like
the Switch Heavy,
chunky one.
Switch Heavy boy,
massive Switch.
It's basically the size of a normal console, like the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Switch chunky.
There's a kind of handheld PC that's doing the rounds at the moment. It was a Kickstarter thing, and it is basically a massive Switch. But the other thing is, when you're playing a game at night and it's quiet, and then all of a sudden, like, a little bit of power will need to go into the Switch, and you'll hear the fan go off for the first time. You're just like, what the hell is that? Apparently this thing sounds like that all the time. It's capable of running Cyberpunk, but it will go while you're sat on the tube trying to play this thing. So yeah, something like that. That'd be great. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that is all the news and all the games we done played. So before we get out of here, would you have some kind of Geek Out for Gosh update, Tim?
Again, no general major news on this for this week, but yeah, anyone that doesn't know, Geek Out for Gosh is a campaign to help Great Ormond Street Hospital in raising money through people streaming games, and you can either stream some yourself, and if you raise up to £250, you can get an exclusive insert coin, t-shirt and pin, and otherwise just help support other people that are doing this and raising money and raising awareness for this. You can get some more details by checking out the social media platforms, Geek Out for Gosh on Twitter, number 4 by the way, and yeah, on similar other platforms, Facebook, etc. And go to gosh.org and search for Geek Out for Gosh, and you can get some more information from there too.
Very good.
Yeah.
Any Tabletop Tuesday updates?
There is actually.
Ooh.
Although not entirely a Tabletop Tuesday update, just welcome.
Well,
to
then
the
it's
fact
not a Tabletop Tuesday update, is it?
As you are hearing this podcast, this will be the first day that the new loading location is open in London. So just down the road from where it previously was, basically in Dalston, it's on the same road, but it's technically now in Stoke Newington. So yeah, check out some more details of them at Drink Relax Play. And yeah, they are open from, as of today that you are hearing this podcast, they will be open. So check them out. New location. They do food now as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I haven't been there myself yet, but I intend to soon. But they are open for business. Yeah, obviously keeping things as safe as possible, but check out their information for details and pop along and go see the new location.
I wonder if they transferred that drinking game that some Australian listeners sent me. I wonder if they transferred that over from the old location, or if they went, what the hell is this? This isn't ours, and chucked it out.
I imagine there might have been some shuffling of games. I know they got some new
was
arcades.
That the one that I got dangerously drunk on?
Yeah, that was the one we played.
Yeah.
Thank you to whoever sent me that. It was a while ago.
It was a fun game from what I remember, and I don't really remember that much of it.
Well, that's a good sign of a drinking game. You thought it was fun. I want to say
it was my birthday,
you don't remember.
but I don't remember.
I think we were just having fun. I think it was a Tuesday.
I don't know when Tuesdays are anymore without Tabletop Tuesday. It's just like Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Just skips
Fan
over.
fiction. Never existed.
No, the Xboxes and the PlayStations, they're only available on Tuesdays, but we're skipping those at the moment.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. If you want to get in contact with the show, you can do via the comment section of BigRedBarel.com. Also there, we have a link to our Discord, which we've also got a link in the show notes now. So wherever you download your podcast from, have a look in your app where you're listening on your phone and go, oh, link to the Discord. I'll join that. Thank you very much, Coleman, for remembering to do that after how many years we've had the Discord. Also, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Big Red Barrel and on YouTube, Big Red Barrel TV, much like these fine people do because they've all got questions. They have all written in to say, I have a question. Ed's got a few questions.
Let's
some
see
are
the
Mass Effect related.
It's Mass Effect related.
Okay.
Has he got more than one Mass Effect question? Oh, multi-part question. Oh. Okay.
It's a multi-level question. So first of all, he wants to know how you would fix the infamous ending. Now, I don't know if you can answer this without spoiling the game for me.
I will. End internet entitlement.
I mean...
That's how I would fix the ending. They didn't owe you They wrote an ending. I was fine with it the first time. Leave them the hell alone. Stop being dicks.
So I wouldn't fix it. I just just take your own theories from it. I have.
Yeah.
There have been writers that have turned around and gone, I disagree with these theories. And I'm like, you're only the writer. I get to decide for myself.
Yeah.
So I still stand by that theory. Yeah, it's fine. It's perfect. It's the greatest ending of a video game in history. Come at me, internet.
I would like to add an ending in. Shepard, and from what I can gather through, because I still don't know what the ending is. I know it involves colours and really annoyed fans and a petition. But if we could have a scene where Shepard and his crew are all at a nice Italian restaurant getting some dinner, and the Journey, Don't Stop Believing, starts playing on the jukebox, and then a man walks into the bathroom, and then a man walks out of a different door, and then it just cuts to black, that would be great. That would be the ending of Mass Effect.
I mean, Coleman, you said no spoilers, but you just literally, scene for scene, described the ending there. So you're going to have to cut that out for the listeners, I'm afraid.
Apart from the bit where, like, Mario turns up and he's like, I'm putting a team together. Like...
I've spoiled something, but if you didn't watch it, you don't know what. So there you go. And I quite like that ending as well, by the way. Also, Ed's asked, also considering that they said in interviews recently that they took out the ability to have bi-characters in Mass Effect 2, in brackets, Jack and someone else, and then with the ability to put them back in, they just didn't. What games do you wish had featured the devs teaser but never put in?
Hey?
What?
I think there's possibly some mistyping in there.
Yes. I'm going to interpret it as what is something you found out was removed from a game that you wish was in? Is that?
A feature the devs teaser had teased but never put in. So something
Maybe it's an autocorrect.
They teased ahead of time. I mean...
Okay, we'll go with teased.
I bought horse armor, so maybe we shouldn't have put horse armor in, because then I wouldn't have bought it and started the whole microtransaction problem off from the beginning.
Did you single-handedly start it?
Yeah, it's all my fault, basically.
Ah, no.
So,
Loot boxes are also on you because of that.
I take no responsibility for loot boxes. That became its own spin-out of control thing.
It all snowballed from horse armor.
All I remember about the horse armor thing was my housemate literally pulling it up in front of me and going, what the? It's this! And getting really annoyed about it and very irate. I just don't understand what's happening right now.
I'll be honest,
I don't understand why you're angry.
I don't know what game the horse armor was from. I just know that it was a joke.
Oblivion, yeah.
Oh, okay. I would have said Skyrim if I had to guess.
It was a time before Skyrim, my young summer child.
What? No.
I wish Peter Molyneux didn't tease anything about Fable 2 or 3 because a lot of that stuff didn't get delivered on.
Yeah, and you can just imagine the people, and there's lots of people that said similar at the time, but you can just imagine the people behind the scenes when Peter Molyneux just went off on one of his tirades of things that will be in the game and go, no, don't say that, no, we haven't even started to design that. What are you saying? What are you doing?
Well, the first they hear from it is when he announces it on stage.
See, I've got the ultimate one, which is because I was super excited for Fable 2, and they announced a special edition of the game, which had like a figurine of one of the bad guys and these cards and all this stuff that was included in the special edition. So I bought the special edition, and then something like the day before they went out, they sent an email out to all the customers saying, by the way, that isn't what we're selling anymore. And they just sent out the Fable 2 with a new cardboard sleeve over it that said special edition on it. And I think it had like a white background on the cover instead of a red one. But it was literally just a cardboard sleeve and then some DLC thrown into it. So they molyneuxed me on the DLC, on the special edition of the game. They molyneuxed me on the game before I played the game. Literally turned up and went, here's my special edition. What is this? So.
I mean, I don't have any to mind. I'm sure, like, as soon as we end this, I'll think of 10,000. But, like, there is one which, it's not technically a tease, it's just me not understanding as a kid. Like, Battlefield 3, where they showed the 64-player battles, and I got so excited, but I didn't understand that there's a difference between PC running Battlefield and console running Battlefield. So when I jumped in and could only get 24-player games, I was just like, what is this?
This is not what I ordered.
This was not what I was promised. I can see everyone.
Something that I wish did get teased and kept in the game, because there was a re-release of The Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, and there was a bunch of content, dungeons and stuff that was cut from that game. And when they announced this new version coming to Wii U, I thought they would re-add that in, because that was kind of the thing at the time. You would add cut content in and give you a reason to buy this game other than going, it runs at 720p. And I really thought they would do that. Apparently they then took those dungeons and that all became Twilight Princess. But that would have been really cool to have that addition of just stuff in in Wind Waker. So that would have been nice. Yeah. Also, the next question... So this goes back to the removal of bi characters in the games. It was a crappy move on the developers' part to point out how they took out functionality because they feared right-wing backlash, in brackets. They took it out because of Fox focusing on them and trying to get games banned, end brackets, and then never put it back in, even though they had the opportunity and could have improved the game by doing so. Yeah, I don't know what the kind of, how far in development was that stuff when the game was coming out, and would it have been easy to put back in? Was it a conceptual stage that it was removed? Was it something they literally had to cut out of the finished game? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff around that. I don't think it's particularly arsey for them to do that. It's, you know,
the other thing I would say is, like, people are generally going in for the experience to be the same
as it was before,
and like, as much as, like, you know, I'm all for representation, but if you start changing big chunks of it for good or bad reason, it has ramifications, and especially in Mass Effect, where choices lead to other choices, to other choices. Yeah. If they implemented something in 2, that would have then meant interactions in 3 would have had to change, and there's no sign that, you know, that would the groundwork was there for it.
And I think that was part of
that's the level of work you would expect to be put into a remaster, rather than the amount of work you're actually going to get into a remaster, which is, ooh, look how shiny it is now.
Look at our eyes. We will
Anderson's a potato.
Hey, Potato is one of my favorite characters in the series, all right? You leave off him. He is the Arbiter as well.
Want any more questions? Yeah, let's throw another one out here.
One?
Okay, we got one from Stingo. He says, mastering a deep game like Stellaris or Monster Hunter, is it worth it? Let me work it, put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. Are there any such games you have mastered? Yeah, I'd say they're worth it. If you really enjoy a game, it's worth mastering the game if they're that in-depth and complicated to get into. I can't say I particularly mastered any of them. Maybe Destiny 1 when I really got into that.
I would say that, right, from our general game tendency is to not necessarily dwell on a game as much as some people do, but I think that is also then enhanced and accelerated by the fact that we do a podcast where we want to be talking about different things every week, so we don't tend to dwell on one game for ages. And if we do, we're tending to play that one game and other stuff at another time, and so that doesn't leave a lot of room for like always having one game in that slot that is one game that we dedicate to, basically. But I can entirely understand the appeal. Like, I did spend quite a lot of time playing Demon Souls. I would not come anywhere close to saying that I'd mastered that because I'll get killed by the internet. But that's the type of, level of and that's one I will go back to and play some more as well. But yeah, I don't think the way we play games and the way we interact with games in terms of doing stuff for the podcast and getting review code so we can talk about stuff and buying stuff that we would just want to play ourselves, I don't think that lends itself well to us doing that. There are games where I keep on thinking, I will do that with this game now, and then not. But yeah, Star Wars Squadrons for one. I want to play a lot more of that. I'd like to get into a team of people. I just don't find the time to do it, basically. It's not to say I won't ever necessarily do it, and as I said, I can see the appeal of other people playing, like, a dedicating themselves to a game and playing that over and over again. I would say that's a bit more in your wheelhouse, Bleezey, no? Something that you've done here and there?
I mean, like, I'm trying to think of what classifies as mastering something.
How much Overwatch have you played?
Yeah, how many hundreds of hours of Overwatch have you played? So
I think Battlefield 4 is still ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
I played that for about 5 years solid. So I'd say probably Battlefield 4. I don't know. Ace Combat is probably the same, but like I don't want to go to say I master it, because like I'll go in, I'll play the story. I like the story of like generally most games, but I don't like that whole. I'm not the kind of player that will go, I'm going to play it on the hardest difficulty because I can. I will play it on like normal, maybe hard if I want a bit of a challenge, but I never push myself that far. If I want that, I go to multiplayer because generally that's more of a challenge that I enjoy. And so, I'm gonna sneak away from that answer without giving anything really.
That's fine.
In case someone challenges me.
I think, I mean, if you enjoy something and it's, a level of StarCraft or, something insane like that, if you really enjoy it, then yeah, it's totally worth mastering. If that becomes your one game you play all year round, then yeah, totally go for it. Yeah. My thing used to be I would get obsessed with games that you don't particularly get obsessed with and try to, back in my day, before they sold us all the unlockable content, we used to unlock content, and that was how you knew a game was complete. You'd 100% it, and that's just not possible these days. And actually, it kind of invokes this habit of trying to buy the things so you have like a full roster of fighters in your fighting game and that kind of stuff. But yeah, like the Tekken games, I used to be so obsessed with Tekken. I used to have printouts of the move lists on my bedroom wall when I was a teenager so I could study them. And I probably should have been working on my GCSEs as hard as I was working on Tekken. But yeah, I used to be obsessed with Tekken 2 and 3. The wrestling games, every time a wrestling game would come out, I would take the day off work and, or a couple of days off work sometimes, and just completely go in depth with them, try to unlock all the characters, make new characters and stuff, just go absolutely ham on them. Tony Hawk games, I used to go mad on Tony Hawk games, trying to be the master of them. It's one of those things. Similarly, Breezus asks, what's the hardest you've ever gone into a game at launch / release? I am an average launch grind enjoyer. Dan knows this, which we could kind of ask Dan what that's about, but I will go first because I've got a good one. Yeah. So outside of the WWE games, which I used to take my time off work and play loads of that game, and like I remember there was a point where my old housemate, he would go off to work in the morning and I'd be playing this wrestling game at SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, and then he'd come home and I was still playing it. He's like, have you been sat there the whole day? I was like, oh, I went to the toilet, I did that. But the hardest I've gone into a game at launch would be Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy, which I remember I finished. Me and my friends, we saved up our pocket money. We pre-ordered it in a local game store, an independent game store, and after school we all met up. We went to the store to go pick up our copies, and he said, "Haven't got them in." So he gave us our money back and phoned around all like the chain stores and stuff. And I think Dixon's, which doesn't exist anymore, they had copies in. So we all rode off to Dixon's. We all picked up our copies. This was on a Friday. So we had the weekend. Everyone stayed over my house and we spent all night playing Pokemon games. And that was the day I remember I played 24 hours of Pokemon on the Game Boy. I specifically remember it. Like, I had a bath playing Pokemon that morning. I went to my mate's house still playing Pokemon, walking to his, I wouldn't stop. I was obsessed with that first game.
Well, I got two quick ones that I can go through. Like, Halo Combat Evolved at launch, as in the launch of the original Xbox, picking that up, bringing it back to my house. I can't remember if we had LAN stuff then, but I definitely remember playing like 4-player split screen stuff. I think it was just split screen back on the original Halo. And then I think you could play 2-player in co-op. And yeah, literally.
He's nodding. I think he's confirming.
I remember playing that and then getting to a point where I was fighting grunts in one of the levels where it's like quite dark outside. I can't remember what level that was, but literally
Truth and Reconciliation.
Yeah,
there you go. Please going to tell you exactly what that is.
Silent cartographer, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, like
no. That's the island. It's Truth and Reconciliation. You have a sniper rifle.
Okay. Yes.
How dare you get this wrong?
And yeah, but at that point, like literally, at some of that point, literally, I remember my eyes being so tired, but also like amazed with everything that was going on at the screen at the same time. My eyes just like literally falling asleep in like as I was playing the game. And yeah, I had staying up for far too long playing that with friends. And yeah, that being a pretty good one. The other one I mentioned just quickly was Oblivion, just because when that came out, myself and my two flatmates at the time were on like different time schedules, so we literally played it in turns over a 24 hour. Like, it was being played overnight over a 24-hour period kind of thing for like a number of days, because we take it in shifts. It's like, yep, come on, it's my 8 hours now, you can go to work. It's like, oh yeah, it's morning, okay, I need to go to work, all right, okay, you take over.
Mine's going to be boring and predictable. Halo Reach. I was sick from school that day, and I waited for the post to arrive. The post never arrived. My mum came in and basically went, "Oh, are you feeling better?" And I'm like, No, I'm not feeling that great. And she went, "Oh, well, I found this downstairs." And out of her coat, she showed me just the corner of the packaging. And I was just like, And she was just like, "Yeah, the dog needs walking. You need to do this. You need to mow the lawn and all this stuff." And I suddenly had all the energy in the world, blitzed all around the house. And I think I played it. Honestly, I don't know if it was 24 hours straight, but I was approaching that. I did the campaign. I did the campaign again. I did multiplayer. That one I remember going really hard in. And the other one was Battlefield, both 3 and 4. Technical issues and all, I persevered through, jumped straight in, and like I remember Battlefield 3 had the long neck soldier meme that you see everywhere. Those were like 4 times a match you'd see someone doing that. And then Battlefield 4, just I think the one that I remember for at least the first week, you could just spawn in and you wouldn't have a gun. And so you would just go in going, I really hope I'm holding the right thing, because otherwise this is going to be awkward when I find the enemy. But also it made it very satisfying when you did get the kill.
I also remember driving a couple of housemates really insane with Red Dead Redemption the day that came out, and I thought, I'll play a little bit of this and then I'll go out to the pub or something, and I just didn't stop playing it, and they got really annoyed because I was taking up the living room TV, and it got anyway, that's a story for another time. One more we've got, this should be a relatively quick one. Velvet Thunder asks, my question is, what old franchise would you like to see get a legendary edition of next? Fingers crossed for Dead Space.
That's a very good shout.
That is a very good shout. Final Fantasy VII, if they could reimagine that and do it more like an action kind of
reimagining
RPG.
of Final Fantasy VII Remake is what you want, yeah?
Oh, yeah. To add the rest of the content.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they kind of... I mean, with the exception of Buster Groove, which I'm always after a HD remake or a sequel to... They pretty much just, I think they've either re-released or remade all the stuff that I want. You know, all the Pokemon stuff that I like's been redone. Monkey Island's been HD remastered. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'd pick. I'd have to think about that.
Heavy Rain.
Turrican even just got a bloody legendary edition.
A David Cage trilogy of like Heavy Rain and...
Remastered with good voice acting.
Oh, like
Heavy Rain has the worst
the
voice
nature
acting
of the game.
I want Beyond Two Souls, but all the characters are Willem Dafoe.
No, like let's leave Beyond Two Souls and just like let's not bother remastering that. Everyone will be happier.
It's
just
a silly place.
Detroit become human again.
If they could if they did a Final Fantasy remake level of detail and redid Omicron, Nomad Soul, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool because
that was the first kind of
and difficult to actually get anywhere. It was on Dreamcast.
Problem is you can't. Yes, and also, you can get it on PC. I've got a copy on PC. I don't. The problem is you'd have to use unless you recast, which would be an upset to a lot of people. You'd have to use the original voice lines because they are David Bowie, so you can't really get him back in to re-record those.
Well, no,
could be difficult.
Sure, they can do wonders with modern technology these days, though, eh?
Bleezey, you got a legendary edition idea?
Oh,
can't say Halo. You've already got Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, I can't say Mass Effect. Got the Legendary Edition. I can't say what was the other one?
Damn, those are my two things.
Modern Warfare 2 because they did that. They have kind of covered on all bases apart from 2 that stick out, but I don't think they'd ever happen. Need for Speed Underground 2. It was my first game, so I'd love that just for nostalgia, and also
Underground Collection.
Yeah, like. Underground 1, 2, and Most Wanted, the proper Most Wanted, those would be great. And
I didn't
then
like Most Wanted.
I did.
Most Wanted was fun. I like that.
Or the other one,
bit too street attitude for your liking, though, Coleman, eh?
I just didn't like the controls. That was all. I found it very floaty in comparison to Underground.
It was very slidey.
Yeah.
I went back and played it recently, and it's very hard to control if you've been driving in any other game before. But the other one I'd say is Ace Combat 5 and 6. Like, the stories you can't fix. With a remaster's not going to fix how mad they are. However, like, graphically and just a little bit of a cleanup of the controls to bring them in line with 7, I think those two games would just...
those two games in 7's engine you think is enough rather than going to a new engine? Yeah.
Yeah, it's because, like, one of the things I love about the Ace Combat games is just how mad the stories are. And everyone says that 6 has the worst story, but it's sort of, like, it's got the worst story, but also it really doesn't if you compare it to the others. And so I'd say, like, yeah, if you could get 5 and 6 like in like a double package, I reckon those would go really well together.
And I wasn't thinking of driving games for this, but there's actually a few driving games that I'd like to see get a redone version of. Top of the list would be Split Second.
Quickly followed by Nigel Mansell's F1. Sorry. Had that on the Amiga. It's always in my head. Yeah, I still don't know what I'd pick. I mean, if we're not necessarily talking legendary editions and remakes and remasters and all those kind of things, if they redid Left 4 Dead...
Well, I was seeing legendary edition as a collection of things, though, possibly, no? Like, maybe...
Yeah,
and that's why Split
but
Second
if
was
you're
a bit
giving
cheeky, but yes.
if you're giving it the old spit and polish like they've done with the Mass Effect series on the Legendary Edition, then if they bundled in Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, or even Red Dead Revolver with 1, 2, and 1 and 2, did all that in 2's engine, I'd be well up for that. I'd totally play through the Red Dead Redemption again in 2's engine. Yep.
I've got a great idea. Like, bear with me on this. Halo 3, but like an anniversary edition. Like, what do you think?
Whose anniversary?
Well, Halo 3's anniversary. We missed it by like 3 years, but you know, late present.
Well, we can get the next one.
No, that's 7 years away, man. 6 years. Oh, it's only 6 actually.
I hate to tell you, but anniversaries happen every year.
Wait, what would be 15 years after? Yeah, so 15 years is next year. Like,
I think you'll find it's 2022 next year, Bleezey.
Yeah, 15 years from Halo 3's release is... Yeah,
oh God,
2007 to... Can we cut this section?
I don't know what I'm doing.
It's right. I think it's right. I don't want to count on my hands because it'll be idiotic, but like...
Bleezey, I won't be cutting this out.
Oh no.
Edit in harder.
Edit in harder.
See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the three-way at sacrifice, you got a 33 1/3 chance of winning. But I got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. So, Samoa Joe, you take your 33 1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 1/3 chance of winning at sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning, if we used to go one-on-one, and then add 66 2/3%, I got 141 2/3 chance of winning at sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at sacrifice.
Okay, I'm saying definitively then, it's 15 years.
Definitely.
2022 is 15 years after 2007.
2007.
Bleezey, good news. To celebrate this, they released a PC port last year.
No, I want it shiny. I want it redone.
It is shiny. It's on PC.
No. There's you can still see some polygons at times.
You can stick mods on it and that.
Right.
That's how PC games work.
I
Chuck
don't-
mods at it.
What you're forgetting is
how mods
after
work.
Halo Infinite, you'll have no need for more Halo because it will be infinite. It'll be fine.
I will always have need for more Halo. They don't I see what they're trying to do. And
Are
I
you
see
saying
what
they're
you're
making a
trying to
finite
do.
Halo?
I think I have a suspicion.
Halo finite.
They don't intend to continue it forever. I think that I will want more Halo than they have.
Yeah, I think you
Breaking
always
news.
want more Halo than they can give you. To be fair.
Exactly. Give me Halo 3 Anniversary, please.
I think that about wraps it up for this week. That's enough of the... Let's not do the questions again. It is a silly topic.
Believe it or not, I was not going to mention Halo. I was going to try not to mention Halo.
No, I literally do not believe that. No. Don't believe it.
I had one note, and I was like, I'm going to go in, I'm not going to mention the banning, and I'm not going to mention Halo. And I've done both.
Yeah. Just
One note is all you need.
massive post-it note on your side of your screen. Do not mention Halo.
Yeah, I'm going to add one after this and be like, do not do maths on the podcast. It does not portray you in a good light.
Well, I'm sure we'll get you back for when Halo Infinite comes out and someone needs to play it.
Yeah, I think it's in like about 8 months, I think.
Oh, Bleezey, we've missed you.
Yes.
Thank you for everyone that keep sending your questions in. Discord's kind of the preferred place, but you can do it on the Twitter and Facebook at BigRedBarel. Also, we still have questions to go through, but we're always collating more and more. We got a lot from Ed. Why do we have so many Ed questions? But it's not just questions you can give us. You can give us a review to show us your appreciation. If you do so appreciate and have enjoyed this here show, you weirdo, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Stitcher, and Castbox. Those are the places we like our reviews. I mean, we're available wherever reviews are available, but those are the particular ones that like to send us their reviews. So if you can give us a review on there, that would be great. No new reviews this week. Just wanted to throw that out there. We will read them.
I give a thumbs up on the YouTube version as well, and you can leave comments there as well. They're not as good as reviews.
Like, comment, subscribe.
But comments are okay.
No, Tim.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't use the correct vernacular.
Click the bell icon to be notified.
Don't click the bell icon.
Click the bell icon to be notified.
No.
It's like Paragon and Renegade.
Yeah. Did you know it doesn't matter whether you do an upvote or a downvote on YouTube? Like, it still discounts as an interaction. Lots of people are, I'm going to downvote it to show them how angry I am. Well done.
Yep.
That's good.
There will be no downvotes because I'm on this.
Well,
it's going to be your highest rated.
Oh, you've just sealed our tomb, my friend.
Just make people do whatever you don't want to do on the internet. Tell them the opposite of the thing you want them to do.
I will say that YouTube does like to bury our videos, so if you hit bell, it will actually notify you when they come.
It's nice when people know that the video exists.
Even if you subscribe, they sometimes won't appear in your feed unless you are actively searching them out, and then they will start appearing in your feed. Seriously, that happens.
Yep.
Because we're too low down the pecking order, I think. So there you go. There's a bit of embarrassing social media information for you.
I mean, you're doing better than me. Like, I put out one video every year, so...
Bleezey, thank you for jumping on in our time of need to talk Mass Effect as the person that's played this more than me, and it's not a hard task, because, like I said, 6 out of the 8 hours has been just wandering around a white hall going, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're an alien, tell me about that.
That's 90% of the game.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
I am on Twitter at BleezeyBoy, and on YouTube for my yearly video is also BleezeyBoy, I think. I actually haven't logged in so long. I'm pretty sure that's my channel name.
Is it Bleezey underscore?
There's
another Bleezey Boy. That's the problem. One with an E and one without. You have the E.
As long as I have the E, that's the important thing. I should make that my new intro. It's like, I have the E.
No, your intro for your video is perfect.
I don't know. I think I should swap the voice out. It sounds a little dated.
Voice is perfect. Whoever you got to voice that is. But
the problem is
genius.
the voice doesn't pronounce the extra E, so maybe I should rehire them.
You should they be going, oh, Bleezey with an extra E? Good.
Yes.
I just don't know what to say there.
You can find Tim at BRB at BRB Tim on Twitter. You can find me at Dammit Coleman. We are going to go away now and giggle off mic for a bit, but this has been episode of 443 of the BRB UK podcast for this week. Hopefully Dan will be back, and I will hopefully figure out how this podcast review competition will work. I'm actually going to put some thought behind this. Ooh. Promise. Ooh. Possibly. Which means 5 minutes before the show, when I'm going to the toilet, I will go, oh yeah!
I forgot about that last week.
Yeah. Until next time, dear listeners, I have been Coleman.
I might have been Tim.
I'm pretty sure I've been Josh.
You revealed your real name, Bleezey.
Hold on, let me count how many letters are in it.
We're waiting. How many letters?
What?
No, I'm leaving this awkward silence before we go.
The awkward silence of, I would like to reclaim my real name back, please. It's Josh.
Okay. It's
Thank
been
you,
nice
Josh.
to have
Bleezey.
you, whatever you're called this
with
week.
the E. Bleezey
with
the
the
E.
extra E.
Bleezey with the good E.
You know,
No,
there's
wait,
a
that
fairly
sounds
strong
drug-related.
chance that other account is also me. And I've just
No, 'cause-
accidentally made 2.
I mean, unless you've had a very dark tan, I don't think that is you, Bleezey. Until next time, dear listeners, goodbye.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.
A fully sized rendered horse will jump through the window, just smash in and start crashing furniture around. And you got to deal with that.
Is it
love it.
always a horse? Just randomly,
It's always a horse.
suddenly